All right, in and out of session lows right now. The Dow down about 428 points. There are a lot of catalysts for this, and we sort of, pick your excuse du jour, not the least of which is what's going on in Italy and Spain as those governments begin to unravel. The fear is their commitment to the European Union begins to unravel. The euro unravels now at all-time lows this year versus the dollar. Add to that angst about China and trade that we're going to indeed follow up on those 25% trade tariffs that were threatened last week, apparently set to be implemented sometime next week. Anyway, a lot of selling going on. Let's get the read from Deirdre Bolton. We have Connell McShane, and last but not least, Wall Street Journal Associate Editor John Bussey. John, what's going on here? Which is leading which?
Well, it's probably contributing. All the things that you're saying are contributing to what's going on with the Dow. But in Europe, this dust-up in Italy, the political dust-up, Eurosceptics that are trying to form a government. The president hasn't sanctioned that yet. You may go to another round of elections, and if that happens, it's very possible that you see even more Euroscepticism in Italy express itself. Do they leave the euro? Do they challenge the euro? What happens to the euro is the big question in the markets.
The suggested finance minister said something like he talks about the euro currency as a German cage. And because he's kind of a quiet, shy, retiring guy, says, well, you know, after World War II in Germany, because they got slapped militarily, they have now enforced their dominance in an economic sense. So, I mean, all of this rhetoric is very nationalistic, right? I mean, basically, this is what we're seeing. It's Brexit, but the Italian version.
A lot of it, though, is in the government rather than the population, I think. And maybe there is something to that as to us getting kind of ahead of ourselves and talking about Italy, especially with regards to it leaving the euro. They've done polls even recently of how the Italian people feel about leaving the single currency, and the numbers never drop below 58%. The most recent number was 59%. So most of the people, almost 60% of the people in Italy, want to stay in the single currency, want to stay in the European Union, even if there's a lot of Euroscepticism in the government.
Itself, right? It's sort of an oxymoron. They don't like being answerable to the Germans.
Well, it's Deirdre's point. I mean, history was yesterday, right? So the memory of World War II and what happened in a sort of a dominant Germany, but also, allied with Italy. This is kind of history sort of playing out. They don't like the fact that the euro, the central government, the central financial bank, defines their budget for them and says you've got to be fiscally responsible. And the Italians have got to be aware of getting what they ask for. If they were to in some way disengage with the euro, I don't think I think you're right. I don't think it's the betting right now that would happen. But let's say that it were to happen. This would be one of the economies in Europe that's not doing as well as the others. Lots of debt, more than 2 trillion euros in debt. How would that ultimately be metabolized by an economy that's not growing fast?
Yeah, and that would be tough, right?
It's the third biggest economy in Europe, but now the fear seems to be, and you touch on, when the president of the country says, all right, to all you populist candidates, despite your appeal, I prefer the guy who's the former IMF official who's pro sticking with the club, and he can, form some sort of a government in the interim. And that bothers people.
No, that doesn't sit
more,
well.
Right?
Even the people who may have been on the fence or kind of calm about things in a democratic system, if I say, okay, this is the party, this five-star party is the one with the most votes and the most seats, but then as president I say, you know what, I just don't like that party. I'm going to appoint my own people. And this kind of flame-throwing against Germany and whether or not people want to leave the euro or not, I mean,
there are plenty of those flamethrowers out there.
There are tons, and whether or not they're right about the stability of the Europe, I know that this suggested finance minister has even said, oh, in the 1990s, when Italy decided to join the euro, all Italians lost half of their purchasing power. That is not entirely true.
Isn't that the argument in Greece when they joined, they ruled the day?
Neil, I think that point that you just made, that there's a ton of flamethrowers out there, is also informing what's going on in the markets and what's going on politically. So you've got Eurosceptic and right-wing party in Italy sort of on the rise. You had the same thing in Poland, in Hungary, Austria's manifested this, France and even Germany has had this, Denmark. So I think that the markets are looking at this and saying, this is more of what we've been seeing, and it's a little bit unnerving.
And it creates an interesting dynamic for our markets, for the U.S. markets. I know we're focused on stocks a lot today to be down, but if you look at our bond market for what's happening in European debt today, with money coming out of Italian treasuries, for example, with the Italian 10-year now going in yield at least higher than the U.S. 10-year treasury note for the first time since I think last summer, you have money coming into the U.S. and yields falling down. So the ramifications of that, at least in the next few weeks, with treasuries linked to mortgages. Now, mortgage rates, which everybody assumed would keep going straight up, won't. They'll stop a little bit, maybe even go down a little bit. So how does that impact our markets, our economy, and how people look at things like buying a home?
The weakest part of our market right now are the financials today. If you look at the S&P 500, I don't know, like 65
We're
of the top.
exposed to all this nonsense.
Yes, and then also to get back to something John said too, I mean, Italy has a lot of debt, and who's on the hook? Mostly German banks, mostly French banks. That's the three-legged stool of the economy of Europe.
What if Spain and Italy, this is worst case scenario I know, Spain and Italy can't cut it, and they're not part of the euro?
Look at how the European Union is trying to digest Brexit and how difficult that has been. Imagine that times three. I would imagine that complexity times three.
So as the euro, if it were an investment, period, to reflect its solidarity, and there's no solidarity, then it's a lousy investment.
Well, see, I mean, that's the interesting binary aspect of this, right? You're betting, if you're betting on the euro, you're betting on political stability or political instability. You're not really sure. In the interim, though, what you might see the central bank doing is kind of delaying any tightening, continuing its easing policy because it wants to keep the economy in Europe strong.
But wouldn't we win by default in that scenario?
We've already won.
The United States as an investment alternative.
Right, that's what we're
the
seeing
dollar
today.
is up big, right? I mean,
It's
you
already
mentioned
won.
that. It's the best level
But you
of
could
the year.
argue that we're hurting ourselves here on the Chinese trade tensions, right? We're going to go ahead
Right, I
and
think it's
follow
another
through
big
on
part of
tariffs.
today a little bit, as everybody kind of assumed after everything we saw with Mnuchin and the Chinese vice premier that the trade war was, to use Secretary Mnuchin's words, on hold. Well, after today and the announcement that came out of the White House, I guess it's not on hold anymore, or I don't even know what the term would be.
And Neil, this is an important point.
But why did the president follow up with the tough talk on tariffs and everything?
Why has he gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on this? I mean, you tell me. But this is informing also what's going on in Europe. Because not only are we sort of on the precipice of a trade war with China, but we're sort of hammering the bell with Europe as well, saying we've got unfair trade relations
and the
with
car
you.
parts thing.
That's true.
The Trump administration has already said something's got to happen here. So Europe is looking at this and saying, are we going to be getting soon the same treatment that China is? The markets are reflecting that.
Mm-hmm. If they're reflecting that, then some of them are actually cheering the president on because they think China's an unfair trader, too. Some of them, right?
Well, and part of what we heard today was that the U.S. will continue to limit Chinese investment, so not even the tariffs, but just limit Chinese investment in the U.S., which a lot of people say is a more muscular, even though it's a quieter tool, it's a more muscular one that affects more companies. I actually was curious to see this as well, given Sarah Sanders, White House press secretary, of course, saying all systems go, more or less, for Singapore.
Yeah.
The fact that the U.S., for better or worse, is gutsy enough to enforce these trade tariffs on China right this minute.
That is assuming there's a logic to this. Is it an impulsive thing on the president's part or part of a grand strategy?
Are you looking at me to answer that rhetorical question?
All trying to dodge that question collectively.
So
I think it's impulsive.
It is a mess. We had this.
No, that's not what I said. I said I think it's impulsive.
Oh, I'm sorry. And I think
Funny how you came up with mess.
Well, as a result of you're saying it's impulsive, it's kind of a mess. That you have this decision on ZTE, for example, to really hammer down. You had Congress behind you, the Commerce Department behind you, and yet suddenly there's a reversal on that for unclear reasons, and now reverse the other direction.
Maybe see the other shoe that's going to drop, or it'll all make sense. That's where it's a non-impulsive.
We don't, perhaps.
And you have a whole group of trade negotiators who see things, well, differently. On the same side.
And you have a centipede with a lot of shoes.
Yeah, all right, exactly. That I got.